So as an addendum to Sunday, if you were here, I've asked Bliss to come and share a little bit more detail with one piece that we didn't get to talk about on Sunday. If you were here, you know we talked about our new vision that we're, as a church, all about loving God, loving people, and changing lives. And we talked about how to do that through missions, discipleship, and community, in particular about missions on Sunday. But one key piece that you shared about that is how to share the gospel in a very specific, tangible way with 4 words, and that being God, sin, Jesus, and live, and how that is a tool that can be used to share the gospel with others. But it's not just that when you're talking to a person who doesn't know the Lord, it's also something that can happen daily. Talk about that. Explain that.
Okay, so we have talked about how we need to share the gospel with the people that don't know Jesus. But sometimes we have to practice that, and sometimes it feels weird to practice it, but really, we can't share the gospel unless if we understand how it affects us, how it changes our everyday lives. So we wanted to share this challenge for you guys as an addendum to Sunday so that you can practice sharing the gospel and preaching it first to yourself. That sounds a little weird, but we want you to understand preaching the gospel to yourself, to your home, to your household, to your family, and your inner circle, how it could change how you share the gospel with others who don't know Jesus. So it looks like this. You guys know the 4 words: God, sin, Jesus, live. So we just want to pose the question, what if you shared the gospel in the story of your everyday life, in the story of your week? And it could look something like this. You come home from work and your spouse or your loved one or someone says, hey, how's your day? Most of us answer fine or crappy, and that's kind of the end of the story. But what if you shared it and you said, God is so great, and he's so patient. And today was crappy. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and I know I blew up at the family and the kids, and I went to work and got mad at the boss, and then I went to my team and blew up on the team. Sin came at me from everywhere. And Jesus paused me, and he reminded me, I'm a son of God, and he's put the Spirit inside of me so that I can live differently. And when I stopped and remembered who I was, who Jesus died to make me to be, then I was able to live different. I wasn't perfect, but my day changed a little bit. What if you preach the gospel to yourself like that? Or to your family? What if you blow up your kids and something goes down, you get mad? You don't represent Jesus when you get mad like that. So what happens if you take your son down and say, son, I'm sorry. God is gracious and forgiving. And I'm supposed to reflect that to you, and I didn't. I'm sorry I blew up at you. Jesus has died to give us an example of how to forgive, and I'm supposed to reflect that to you.
That's sin.
That was sin. Then Jesus died. And so we're going to live differently. We're going to be reconciled and move forward and live differently, because this is how Jesus wants us to live. Or what if you see someone at church at the end of the week and they say, hey, how was your week? You could say fine. Or you could say, you know what? God is so patient. I had a hard week. I'm struggling in the marriage. I'm struggling with rebelling kids. Sin. It's all coming at me everywhere. But I know Jesus has given us hope. And therefore, I'm living differently this week with hope in me because of Jesus. So, the gospel, those 4 words, you guys, can be the story of your everyday. It can be the story of your home. It can be the story of your week. And when you start doing that, when you start telling your story in the form in those 4 words, you start preaching the gospel to yourself. Then you're preaching it to your home and your inner circle. And then it becomes a part of who you are, and you can't help but share the story of what Jesus has done every day and is continuing to do for you as you share the gospel with other people who don't know Jesus. So that's your challenge. Use your 4 words. Tell your story this week. Preach the gospel to yourself and to your home.
Awesome.